Alrighty, guys, I sure like what I'm seeing here on Palantir stock. Another very green day so far. We're up over 3% on the day. We're now at $22.77, and it looks like we're starting to break out. We're going to break down the charts here, guys, my thoughts, what I'm looking to do, and we'll break down the options chain later in the video. So make sure you guys stick on throughout, smash the like button. Do not forget to subscribe and check out my Patreon if you guys want to see me build out my portfolio, get my trade alerts, all of that good stuff is on Patreon down below. Check out the QR code right here, or just go to stocksurfest.com/Patreon. And with that out of the way, guys, cheers. Got my coffee on deck, got my water as well right here. Got to stay hydrated. And now let's dive right into the video. So right off the bat, the markets are doing very well today. All the indexes are up pretty nicely. The Russell's up 1.1%. NASDAQ's up 1.5%, S&P's up 0.75%, as the Dow's pretty much at break even, but forget about the Dow, guys. The tech stocks are up, S&P, NASDAQ, that's what we're looking at, right, for the most part. So I'm loving it. Very nice green day. Thanks to, a bunch of these big tech names. We have NVIDIA moving up big time. We have Netflix moving, Microsoft. It looks like Apple's up as well. So we have a lot of green in tech. And by the way, Apple's pretty much right back to all-time highs. Just like that. That dip didn't last long, right? But we'll talk about that in another video. So check it out. PLTR, we're pushing $23 per share. And just yesterday morning, we were at $21 per share, which now means we're up almost 10% from yesterday's opening price, and we're building on top of those gains. And it seems like we're having multiple green days in a row for the first time since I can't even remember how long ago at this point, right? So clearly on the 5-day, 5-minute, we're continuing this uptrend with today's move. We took out the highs from obviously yesterday, but also from last week. We hit about 22.20 last week, so we took those highs out, which is a very good sign. And on this 10-day, 30-minute, let me pull it up. You guys can see that as well. We also took the highs out on this time frame. And on the 20-day chart, we're not taking the highs out yet, but guys, we're about to test them. The highs here on the 20-day chart were from about a month ago. We hit $23.23 on the 7th of May, which now is the 5th of June when I'm making this video. So PLTR, guys, is looking really good on the charts heading into the middle of this month. And there's a lot of speculation about the S&P 500 inclusion, which I did make a video on, I think about 2 weeks ago at this point, and we'll talk more about that the closer and closer we get to the S&P 500, Palantir being included in the S&P 500, which I believe that decision is on the 17th of June, the 19th. I forget the exact date, guys. I don't want to butcher it. I have to double check when their quarterly rebalances, but yeah, I don't know if this is solely because of that, the rally that we're seeing right now, but it's probably partly due to that speculation of them being included in the S&P 500. But overall, guys, I think that's only part of the reason why we're moving, right? It's just part of the reason. I just think the stock's way too beaten down. The earnings were solid. I don't know why we dumped so aggressively after earnings. I honestly think this move that we're seeing right now is overdue. It was overdue, which is why I was buying, and I'm still going to be buying Palantir hand over fist in the super low 20s, $20-21, because I was expecting this move to come. And again, I don't necessarily think it's because of the inclusion of the, in the S&P 500. That could be the cherry on top for this move, but I think there's more going on here. So on the 20-day, or this is the 20-day, on the 4-hour chart, now you guys can see clearly we're above the moving averages. We're breaking out of highs from over a month ago now. We're right around a month ago. And the key levels coming up here, let me zoom in and show you guys some key spots of resistance. Right around 23 is a big spot of resistance, right? If I zoom in a little bit, $23 is where Palantir failed in the beginning of April, middle of April right here. Also, end of April, early May right here. So you guys can see we're testing that spot right now, right? We're testing that spot right now, which if we get out of here, this could be pushing towards, mid-20s pretty quickly. Well, I guess technically we're arguably, low mid-20s right now. But yeah, if we're, able to break above $23, we could be seeing a push to 25 like that. And who knows, with speculation about S&P inclusion, more momentum's coming in, we might be getting that move sooner rather than later. And you guys remember yesterday I was talking about call options I was looking at on Palantir. Let me actually pull up Robinhood very quickly. Not that I solely use Robinhood. I just think it's super easy to look at the options chain for the sake of, videos on Robinhood. It's very simple, makes it super easy to understand. So you guys remember I was talking about the June, not the 7th ones. Those expire in 2 days. That's a bit degenerate if you're buying calls that expire that week. But hey, those are up 133% today. If you bought the June 23rd calls yesterday, they're up 133% today, and they're trading for 28 cents per contract. So essentially you can get in one of those for $28, which pretty much anybody has $28, right, guys? Not saying you should go and buy those. I'm just saying in general, very accessible here, Palantir calls. And if we come up a little bit, let's see, change the date. I would look at the end of June personally. Like, I don't like buying calls that expire very soon. Obviously, the time factor is huge with options. If you get the timing wrong, you're going to lose all your money if you're buying calls and buying puts, right? Timing is your friend. You want time to run out. When you're selling options, that's a whole different game. But in this case, we're talking about buying calls. So if I'm looking at these guys, I'm looking at the $23, $23.50s, $24, $24.50, $25 calls, pretty much all the way up the line. I'm looking at for PLTR here. And the shortest, or not the shortest, but the soonest I'd be willing to go for expiration date would probably be June 28th, maybe June 21st if I'm feeling a bit crazy here. But I would consider probably the $23.50s or the $23 calls for June, or maybe early July. Let me actually look at July 5th, which is a month away from today when I'm making this video, guys. Those calls are actually looking pretty decent, right? They're a little bit more expensive, obviously, because you have more time on your side. But the $23 July 5th call options right now are right here. They're trading for $1.03 per contract, right above my head. You guys can see that, and those are up 32% on the day. So options, yes, they're very risky. You shouldn't put a lot of money in these that you're not willing to lose a good chunk of, or a lot of it, or all of it, right? But if you're willing to risk some money, if you're very confident that a stock's going to make a move in the short term, right? This is a great way to make a leveraged bet. So you could only buy, let's say, for example, 5 contracts here for $500, the $23 calls, for example, and you could potentially, not guaranteed, but you could potentially make 100% on your money if it works out in your favor. But if you bought $500 worth of stock, sure, you might make 10% if the stock makes a move. That's $50. That's good and all, but your money doesn't go as far as if you're buying call options. Now, am I saying you should go buy call options for your entire portfolio, never buy shares? Absolutely not, guys. If you believe in a company long term, buy a bunch of shares. That's the way to go. But if you want to see, or if you think a stock is going to make a move in the short term, which I feel like PLTR could be getting ready for that, it's already starting, then you could use options on top of your long-term shares to kind of get an even bigger return in the short term. And really, options are for trading, guys, not really for long-term investing, although you could buy leaps is what they're called. Let's see how much the leaps are trading right now. January 16th, 2026, call options, 590 days out. So if you want to bet on PLTR in the next 600 days that it's going to go to $25 or more, you're going to have to pay up, man, $6.20 per contract, or in other words, 620 bucks. Multiply that number by 100, and that'd be a good way to trade, longer term options, more of a longer term bet on PLTR, which I have not done that personally, but I might consider those $25 calls for $6.20 a contract. Not too bad. Multiply that again by 100, and that'd be interesting. If Palantir crushes it over the next year or 2 years, those could be very fruitful. Those 25 calls, 27 calls, $30 calls, right? And personally, I think we're going way over 30 bucks over the next 2 years. I could be wrong, but hey, that's kind of where my head's at. So what do you guys think about PLTR here, the charts, the options chain? I love to know where your guys' head's at. Let me know in the comments down below. And guys, do not forget to run up the like button. Let's try and get at least 125 to 150 likes on this video. I think we got like 120 on the video from last night. So make sure you guys run up the like button and check out the Patreon if you guys want to see real updates to my private portfolio, the trades, the buys, all the moves I'm making, plus returns over time. All of that's down below. The QR code's right here, or go to stocksurfest.com/Patreon. And with that being said, guys, cheers. I'll see you later.